Are you moving soon? Well, I know there's a lot of things going on whenever you do move. Whether it be your home or your office, it doesn't really matter. It all comes down to the same thing. One, you need to plan ahead. Why? Because you need to find out the date that you're going to be moving, who's going to pay for the move, your work, yourself. Are you going to do your own move, or is somebody else going to do it for you? And when should you do everything? Well, in this video, I'm going to go ahead and talk about exactly what you will need in order to facilitate your move. Now, my name is Eduardo Martinez. I'm the owner of We Move Moving Company. I'm going to be providing the same moving checklist. By the way, it's a moving checklist. I'm going to be providing the same moving checklist on the link description below. Okay? So, let's go ahead and get started. First things first. What do you need to do in order to actually get ready? Let's backtrack. Let's talk about what the main thing is. The moving checklist, what it actually does for you, it gives you a timeline of when you should be doing certain things. But the first thing that you should be doing is get organized. Okay, so how do you get organized? First thing you need to do is create a moving planner. Inside your moving planner, you're gonna put things such as your storage contract in case you're getting a storage, or if you're renting your own U-Haul or moving truck, that's where you put the paperwork to let you know what gas or fuel marker you should put it back up in. Same thing, if you're going to be using a moving company, the moving company, you could put in the paperwork, you could put in the quote, your order for service, your schedule, any information that you think might be important for your move. Same thing, if you're going to be moving in or out of a rental, so are you going to be needing your lease agreement, which, by the way, your movers are going to need that information to know where they're going to be taking your things to or taking your things from. It doesn't matter, right? They both work. Okay, so first thing, like I said, it's get organized and create a moving binder. This is where you're going to keep all your information. Like I said, oh, by the way, same thing with receipts. In case somebody else is going to be paying for your move, they want to know where you're spending your money, and that way they could reimburse that money back to you. So, quick tip number one. Okay, so let's start the timeline. Let's do it at 2 months before you move. So what should you do at 2 months before you move? First thing, I already said first thing like a million times, right? Anyways, the first thing you should do is downsize. Reduce all your junk. I get it. There's a lot of things that you've accumulated that that you just want to keep around. Like, for example, myself, I've gone to plenty of quinceañeras and weddings, and I've done my dancing and everything, and then by the time I get back to the table, I see this awesome center ornament that I just want to take to my house and put it right next to my microwave. But I really don't need it. I mean, truthfully, it's something that I don't need. Is whatever, I just wanted to keep it, right? And yeah, you can't always take that. Check with your host or whoever. Anyways, so keep what you need and get rid of what you don't. So how do you do this? Well, what you can do is go inside your I don't know, I'll give you an example, kitchen or bedroom or whatever. Let's start with the kitchen. You go to a kitchen, you're gonna start putting in all the cups, your coffee mugs and all the things you don't really use that often but you like. So a quick tip is using your old t-shirts or your current t-shirts, wrap it up with those t-shirts to make sure that there's enough cushion in between each mug. Also, use small boxes for heavy things like dishes, glassware, and just books and things that could make the box heavy. So rule of thumb is use heavy things, small boxes. Large boxes, you could put big bulky items. Maybe like in a bedroom, you could put your pillowcases, your bed sheets, and all that stuff that take up a lot of space. But essentially, they don't weigh that much. Why? Because the cardboard box will tear. So, anyways, another thing you can do to downsize is host garage sales. So by hosting a garage sale, selling on eBay, selling on Facebook Marketplace, or just selling your things, right? What you're going to end up doing is creating some moolah so you can go ahead and pay for your move, pay for the moving truck, pay for the moving supplies, the boxes, or whatever expense you might expect during a move, right? Second thing is that you could also donate anything that you don't really want to sell, right? So for example, pots, pans, old t-shirts and stuff, go ahead and take it over to your local charities, the Salvation Army, or whatever you feel comfortable with. Go ahead and take it over to them. By the way, for example, if you take a few things to Goodwill, I know that they provide you some kind of tax deduction voucher. I don't know, you'll need to ask them once you arrive, just as a recommendation. Okay, so once you've already downsized and kind of discarded what you don't need anymore, or thrown away or whatever, next thing is to start packing. Please start packing as soon as possible. Why is this so important? The reason is because it's probably the most tedious task. It's time consuming, it's super annoying. I understand it. If you have a lot of things that you need to put inside boxes, more than likely what's gonna happen is that you're gonna look at whatever you're gonna start packing and you're gonna say, oh my goodness, I remember when I got this pen inside a Tony Robbins conference while speaking to Gary Vaynerchuk to whatever, anyways. Start packing your things. Well, of course, not a pen, mugs, or whatever you're gonna end up putting inside boxes that you don't frequent that much. Again, just start packing it away, right? It'll definitely save you time at the end of your move. Or next option is, if you're gonna hire a mover to do it, let them know ahead of time. They could bring all the supplies. Either they sell them to you, or it's included together with the service. As a mover, it's based on a company by company basis, right? Okay, so what else? Oh, when you do the packing, please make sure to label your boxes correctly. This is going to be so important, both for yourself and for your mover. So, for example, let's say that box is coming in from your kitchen. Write down kitchen, write down master bedroom, write down Juanito's bedroom or whatever, living room, it doesn't matter. It's the second thing is write down the contents. For example, microwave, small appliances, dishes, or bedroom, you could put electronics, DVDs, or whatever you want to put in there. Just make sure you write down the contents so you can remember what's inside the boxes. Because keep in mind, by the time you're done packing with everything, there's going to be a lot of boxes. Okay, so let me see. Oh, also, if there's anything that's fragile, anything that you think can break, well, please write it down in big bold letters. It's going to help you and the movers to know what to load or what to load first, right? So let's say it's going to be dishes. I'm going to put that in a place that I know for sure is going to be in a safe spot, or it won't be at the very bottom of all the boxes with all the weight of the other boxes. Again, as a mover, we're going to try to make the best use of the space inside the moving truck, and we're going to be putting boxes on top of each other. What I want to prevent is any damages that can be avoided. That's essentially it. We want to avoid damages, right? So what to do 1 month before you move. So let's ask, who needs to know about your move? Who needs to be notified? Okay, so let's start off with your work, with your school, your kids' daycare, or whatever. Just make sure you let them know when you're gonna be, when you're gonna move, and also update them with a new address if you have that already. Let your utility providers know that you're gonna be either transferring the service or canceling the service, whatever fits best. Your financial institutions, your banks, or credit cards, or whoever else needs to know, let them know ahead of time once you already have your address. Also, just to let you know, at the very bottom, I have the link to the website with our moving checklist that will show you, or that has a link of where to submit at the U.S. Post Office. Hold on, my mind got super. All right, once you get inside our website, inside the movers checklist or moving checklist, you could select the link that'll take you to submit the form to the U.S. Postal Service to pretty much forward all your mail to the new address. Okay, sorry, that was a lot. Okay, who else do you want to let know? Again, like I said, utilities providers, light, water, gas, landline, cable, internet, so on and so forth. Home service providers, security alarms, pest control, cleaning help, lawn maintenance, so on and so forth. Just wanted to cover those bases. There's a lot more information, by the way, I'm using my cheat sheet, my own checklist to read what I got to go over in this video. But again, it's available to you at the link below. Okay, so what to do 3 weeks before you move. What you want to do, or you might want to do this a little bit before. If you're, better yet, let me rephrase this. If you already have a date and a location, start calling your moving companies or start researching moving companies. How do you do this? First of all, ask friends and family. Usually they'll tell you how their experience has been in the past if they've ever used movers. Second thing, go online, go to Google, type in movers in my city. For example, I'm in Laredo, so movers in Laredo, Texas, or moving companies in Laredo, Texas. More than likely you're gonna find We Move. Sorry, that was a plug-in. Okay, so you're gonna find the companies, you know, from the top ranking or basically however they're set up in Google. Make sure to look at the reviews, find out what past customers have had to say, visit their website if they have one, read all the terms, agreements, and all that. Find out what your movers will be providing. Same thing, follow their Facebook page. Inside their Facebook page, you're going to be able to tell what kind of movers they are. Sometimes they'll post pictures on any of these platforms. It'll just give you an idea of who you're going to be working with. Okay, so let me see. Oh, so once you call your representative, most of the time they'll give you a free moving estimate. With that, just make sure to ask them, what will the rate cover? So for example, there are some companies that might be more expensive. However, they're going to provide a much larger moving truck, or they're going to provide, I don't know, just extra things as part of their rates, or at the same in the same token. And by the way, I'm talking about hourly services. So let's say it's hourly services, and you find a cheaper moving company or a more affordable moving company. Same thing. Ask them, you know, what they're providing. Sometimes difference of a few dollars will make a huge difference. They might provide a smaller truck, or they might just, I don't know. There's just a lot of things to kind of consider, right? But yeah, essentially just ask them what they're going to be providing with whatever you're going to be paying for. And also, write these notes down. They're going to be important whenever you're cross-checking with other movers. Okay, so, and again, this just kind of going over the top. Why? Because there's so much more information whenever you move. Like I said, I understand it's a very stressful process whenever you do move. Okay, so what to do 2 weeks before you move, or before your move. Prepare your friends and family. I mean, by this time, most of them probably already know that you're going to be moving around. But what can you do? If you're going to be moving far away, host a going away party. I mean, guys, you know, these are people that you've interacted with for a long time. I'm definitely positive that they're going to be missing you. Same thing with your kids. Sometimes, you know, it's their final goodbye, depending on how far you're moving. Even if it's within the city, and this more specifically for kids. If you're moving around within the same city, they're going to be going to a different school district. So again, you know, the likelihood of them seeing their friends, it's a little bit tighter. So plan a party. It's definitely a big plus, especially, you know, when you build up relationships over the years of wherever you've been. Okay, so let me see. Sorry, I'm looking at my cheat sheet. What to take on the road? You can take your maps. Well, in this case, it'll probably be like your navigation device on your phone or something. Just make sure you're not driving as you're using it. Have a co-pilot tell you where you're going to be going to. Okay. Snacks, flashlight, first aid kit, prescription drugs, credit cards, cash on hand, cell phone charger, just quick little things to keep. Make special arrangements in case, for example, you're going to be moving within the city. Maybe somebody needs to take care of your pet. Keep in mind, I mean, I understand dogs. I love dogs, by the way. I have a dog. I have dogs. So I love dogs. However, not every dog is friendly, which is great when they're protecting your home. But if somebody that they don't know comes into their territory, they're going to be defensive. And of course, the movers will not be working under hazardous conditions, which this would fall under one of those. Even though it's a Chihuahua that's just barking their little butts off, whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, putting it out there, it might just slow down the movers because they don't want to step on the dog. I don't know, just giving scenarios out there. So make arrangements. Same thing with kids. If you're going to be moving within the city or maybe even out of town, you know how you're going to handle that situation. Okay, so what else can you do? start calling your new property, your new location, especially on rental properties and apartments. Sometimes you're going to have gate codes, so make sure you write down the gate code. The mover will be needing that, the apartment number, the building number, and just maybe a simple instruction on how to get to your specific building. I mean, keep in mind, as soon as they get there, they're going to be driving around just looking for the building number and then finding your specific apartment. So it saves a little bit of time, makes it easier for everybody. Okay, so what to do 1 week before your move. Okay, so the final touches. It's basically pack a personal suitcase. What the personal suitcase is what you're going to be taking during your travel, whether it be, and this is more specific, I guess, for long distance traveling, or you know what, let's go ahead and push it in, even with local, you know, from local moving or whatever, right? So what I'm getting at here, it's basically this. You're going to be using certain things immediately, one night to another. So you're going to want to take a couple of, you know, change of clothes, even work clothes, toothbrush, hygienic products, maybe some cleaning supplies to clean up the new place or the old place. You know, these are just a couple of things that you can take for that personal suitcase. Let me see. Start using items that can expire or, you know, non-perishables, right? So things like these, you know, food inside your fridge, non-perishable, isn't that like cans? Well, perishable, sorry. So start eating whatever's inside the fridge. More than likely, you're not going to have time to actually sit down and cook a full-blown meal. Why? Because everything's already in boxes and it's going to be a lot of work to take everything out. So you're more than likely going to be eating out. Again, everybody to each their own. You know what you're doing. But yeah, just consume that. I mean, that way it doesn't go to waste. By the way, a lot of movers will not move certain things. And again, because of the conditions they pose. So for example, let's say I load my box truck, my moving truck, with all these, I don't know, your food inside your fridge. So it's going to take us, a local move, going to take us, I don't know, half an hour to drive from one location to another. Or let's say we loaded the food first and then everything else is going inside the truck. So it's been a couple of hours already. So by the time we get to a new place, you know, not only has everything defrosted, it might have even gone bad because of the heat. By the way, Laredo, Texas, the heat is insane. For those of y'all that live here, you know what I'm talking about. Okay, so moving on to the next thing. Start returning things that you've collected, you know, over time, or rented or whatever, movies, library books. Start getting back the things that you loaned out, you know, movies, library books. Well, maybe not library books, but books. Dry cleaner, anything that you might have in layaway or in storage, you know, just save the safety deposit box, you know, just those kind of things. Be sure to remember those. Now, what to do 2 to 3 days before your move. So we're right around the corner, like it's about to happen. So what should you do? Well, first of all, preparing your home. How do you prepare your home? Once everything is in boxes, by this time, everything should already be packed, or at least most of it. Clean your home, especially, again, if you're renting. If you're renting, you want your deposit back. So how do you do this? By providing a clean environment and giving less reasons on why they should hold back certain amounts of your deposit. Or if you're going to be selling your home, same thing. You want to make sure that it's ready for the new person that's going to be moving in, thus essentially making it a lot easier to sell that home. Okay, empty out your fridge and let it defrost. So it's going to be, I guess, 24 to 48 hours to actually defrost. Keep in mind there's a lot of humidity inside, especially if it's going to be moved from one location to another. What you want to do is make sure it's dry, pat it down, use a wipey, tissue cloth or whatever, something dry, just to make sure there's not a lot of humidity inside. In other words, disconnect it and leave the doors open. Okay, so let me see. Take down permanent fixings, anything that you put on the walls, art, drapes, light fixtures, ceiling fans, I don't know, whatever the situation is. Again, unplug appliances or electronic devices. By the way, just to let you know, a lot of electronics need to be at room temperature. Same idea with the food. So let's say you have an awesome 65-inch TV, you know, it's plasma or whatever. You have it in a nice, cool environment because of your AC. It's nice and cold, kind of like that one. It's pretty awesome, pretty decent. Anyways, so let's say you have your TV and then all of a sudden your movers take it into a hot moving truck. So First of all, that's a big no-no. Why? Because the glass itself, or just the screen itself, can be damaged because of the huge difference in temperatures, right? So just unplug it, let it cool down, and get to room temperature. That doesn't take a lot of time, but again, that's why I recommend 2 to 3 days before. Also, take pictures before you unplug anything. Why? Because it'll help you remember where everything goes. Okay, so also keep in mind, for certain hazardous things that cannot be moved, please read the terms and conditions for any mover. But to give a general idea, oh, by the way, there are certain things we cannot legally move around, so you need to be aware of that, especially if you have it already packed inside boxes, like propane tanks, gasoline, just certain things that cannot be moved. For example, on that note, drain your lawnmowers, drain your generators and all that stuff from gasoline, from all fluids. Fireworks, throw those away. Cleaning fluids, matches, acid, and whatnot, just all that stuff. We cannot move it, so unless you can move it yourself, it still poses a risk. So please take that into consideration whenever you're moving anything. Okay, so on the moving day. Moving day is here, and you're ready to take on the world and just get it out of the way. I understand there's already been a whole lot of things that needed to be done just to prepare for this day, but yeah, the hardest part is over, right? So talking about the moving day, what are your responsibilities as a customer? First of all, whenever the mover sends you a quote sheet or whatever, more than likely, if it's not within the paperwork that they send you or email you or whatever, check their website, and they'll probably have your rights and responsibilities as a consumer. Please feel free to read that. It's actually really important for every move, actually. But it'll eventually say what the responsibilities that you hold, what are the mover's liabilities. Let me see. Moving on. Let me see. Be available at a time of pickup and delivery of your shipment, which basically means take the day off if you can. Be available for the movers, because even at that, your movers will just get there. They'll be loading everything for you, but they need to know how to get around to a new location. If anybody else is going to be acting on your part and signing the paperwork or whatever, just keep in mind it's not their thing, so you better understand what the conditions of your items are. So let's say pressable items, compressed wood. We move it, for example. We can move it for the customer, but we do have a disclaimer that if they get damaged, we cannot cover it. Or, we might take some discretion on what to cover, what not to cover. But the reason is because once they've been assembled, if you disassemble, they'll just become a whole lot more flimsy. Or even at that, once they're inside the moving truck, and if they're just moving around, just the compressed wood is going to eventually just break apart. So, just a quick heads up, this is just something to consider. Of course, by the way, my movers keep everything nice and tight to avoid all that shifting and moving around. But again, compressed wood is really, really delicate. Okay, so let's go on to what to do before the mover arrives. Okay, so actually, when the mover arrives, better said, point out any extra fragile items, and again, any furniture that might require more attention or that's already kind of flimsy. So why? Because the mover will know how to handle that specific box or furniture piece. Do a walkthrough with a mover. Walk around, take pictures, your before and after. Why? This is going to help out in the event of a claim. Also, make sure you understand your responsibilities, your damages, and basically what the coverages are. Ask your mover. They'll definitely be able to tell you what they can and cannot cover. But the overall, liabilities, it's 60 cents per pound, which basically means if you have 100-pound item, they're only going to cover 60 cents of that item. Again, if you read our articles or check out our page, you're going to be able to find more information on that. For example, in the frequently asked questions, or ask your mover, right? They should definitely know. Okay, so mover's arrival. Let me see. Be present to give directions. Already went over that. Accompany the movers as things are being loaded. Please don't get involved as far as getting onto the truck or helping them physically. Why? Because we understand moving. There's a lot of things going around, a lot of heavy furniture that's being moved around. Last thing we want to do is cause any kind of accidents to you as a person, or even to our own movers, you know, for safety precautions. Let me see, before you leave, make sure that your water is shut off, that you've that your AC is off, your breakers, if you want to turn them off, go for it. Your windows are shut and locked, and if you need to turn in any keys, that you've already surrendered those keys. Also, if you want to go ahead and drain out your boiler, that's another idea. Okay, so upon delivery, once everything is loaded and inside the truck, your movers need to know how to get to a new location. Most of the time it's already going to be in the paperwork, but just make sure you go over any details that they might need to know. For example, special parking arrangements that you've made with the property. Also, be ready with the payment. You know, it's a little uncomfortable kind of just waiting and seeing when, you know, which card should you use, you know, because some cards have more funds than others. I mean, just take that into consideration, right? Again, for hourly services, you can't really, you know, calculate the exact amount that you're going to be spending, but just, you know, keep into consideration what you probably, you know, consider how long it might take, right? And yeah, I mean, after the move, after everything's unloaded, go over your items again. You want to look out for any scratches, damages, or whatever. As a mover, what they do and don't cover. Okay, so I feel like if I went over a lot more details than what I should have, but it's really important information. Again, if you take a look at our page, follow the link below, it's going to really break it down for you. Again, this moving checklist is to facilitate your move. I understand there's a lot going on, but honestly, you know, just be safe as far as planning and taking caution before you move. All right, guys. Again, like I said, my name is Eduardo Martinez. I really appreciate you guys taking a look at the video. By the way, what I do want to know is this. I want to know if you have any other tips or moving hacks that you might recommend. I mean, I would love to add it to our blog or articles or whatever. You know, I want to help out as many people as possible whenever they move, and your information would definitely help out. Also, write down in the comments, you know, how your experience has been with previous movers, if there are certain things that you saw in this video that maybe you didn't do, and the consequences, if there were any, on not doing them, or improvements on what to do based on what I said. Anyways, like I said, there's a lot to say, but there's a little time to watch this video. Guys, thanks so much. Appreciate your time.